All right. And today, Wednesday, March 25th, 7:18. Markets all gapping up overnight. We got the Dow up 400, the ES up 58, Nasdaq's up 260, the Russell's up 3370. That index is the Russell's up the most at about 1.35%, and then gold getting a really nice bounce overnight as well. Really good bounce off these lows of a 41.04 and change. And then more importantly, and what has everything moving, is crude oil dropped off a cliff last night. So there you have it. And that is really the story. Bonds with another big rally as well. Trading about 113.19. So really big move this morning in those bonds. And again, so goes oil, so goes just about every thing under the sun. And so that is the story. There really is no other stories. There really was I did not see any real major news flow on, I didn't really see major news flow at all on what was going on over in Iran. The only thing I can believe is that whatever it is, it's a good thing because oil is a tanking, and we currently trade at 86.92. Really, the ultimate target there is going to be in the 70s. I think once we get back in the 70s, I think you'll see markets begin to completely stabilize. And that is that. And then you have, I think more importantly for the consumer, you have RBOB. RBOB is under $3 now. You know, RBOB got as high as 33.47, which translates into, if you're in one of the commie states like I am, who has, crazy amount of gas tax, that translates into, almost $4, maybe $4.50 a gallon. I know in California there were places, I think, my wife has a friend in California, said there were places that had like $7.99 and $8. I mean, what the fuck are they doing out there in California? I mean, what are you doing to people? So anyway, that is another good thing as well, and we'll see. We'll see how things go today. Absolutely no trades at all yesterday. Did not do anything. I kind of took my good day and just kept it in the books. I figured I could do nothing but probably lose money since I kind of had money in the bag, so to speak, and I just was like, you know what? I think it's just probably good to keep the guns in the holster, and I did so. So I did nothing yesterday, but I'm probably likely going to do something today. Not guaranteed, but I do like a couple of spots here. Looking at the 4 hour on the Russell. I like the Russell. I particularly like the Russell up here at 26.13. Now that's a big move, folks. I mean, if we get up near 26.13 on the Russell, that would be another 50 handles. That's a big move. I'm not really confident that's going to hit today, but I do like that spot, even though it's an R3. I like the area because, we do get into a spot there on the profile that I believe, has a lot of chig, as I say. And there's a lot of inventory and a lot of things to get through there. So I am actually going to mock it. All right, and so that is one that I'm going to be looking at there on the Russell. Going to remain patient. I'm not real crazy about any shorts in here. Now, if you were actually going to look here, and the reason I don't like the shorts here is you notice there's a huge, right? You got a lot of kind of headway in here, not an extraordinary amount of inventory there, and so we're likely, and we do have a number of touch points. We have 2574, which is a swing high from back in, when is that? Back on the 23rd. Also have another swing high, a 2594.20. And then another one at 2603.90. None of which are really, like, what I would like to see is I would like to see a bigger kind of either peak or valley in one of these areas to make it kind of tradable. If I want to like try to explain it, that's what I'd be looking at. And I was looking for a short up there, but I don't see it. I don't really see it. So I'm kind of taping this off. Unfortunately, I kind of feel like I'm taping this area off as no man's land. I do like this area down here at about 2540s. Is it 2540s? Yeah, it's about 2539 to about 2534. I like this area down here. If we get down there, if we do get some kind of pullback, I hope we don't. I hope we don't. I hope we continue higher. In fact, I hope we gap up again when we open. As I said, I'm a trader at heart. I want to see opportunity, but I also like to see the markets. I like to see the markets go up. Sorry, I just do. It's good for everybody. When the market goes up, it's good for everybody. So there's that, and that's really about it. You can kind of trade some of these areas for your... What the heck happened there? Ended up drawing a line. You could trade some of these areas for yourself, but as far as like trading areas, that's kind of where I'm going to stick today. If we get down in here, I'm not really going to be... something's going on. Again, if we're testing lows today, something's going on that's probably not good. And I don't know if I'd be willing to take some of these trades down there if we actually start to kind of fall off the cliff. All right. Because the long trade really has been a rough one. Like I said, it's been much easier, and I'm going to continue that thesis. It's been much easier to take shorts. Now, if you want to get aggressive, I'm obviously going to watch R2 2578 because obviously it's a R2. It's near a swing high, and it's also near yesterday's highs. And we're actually trading very close to those highs. So obviously, I am going to look at that one. I don't necessarily believe I'm going to take that trade again. A lot of things will have to happen. But again, we'll mark it out. And that's really it on the Russell. I'm not going to get in the weeds and then start talking about, these areas up here. I'm going to try and trade the here and now. Let's move over to the ES. I think in order to break this, I'm going to get rid of the drawings. I think in order to break this kind of, and I'll put their drawings back because, again, I've been putting this up here with these lower highs. We're going to need to break at least one previous lower high before this trend or this downtrend is broken. I mean, and that's just the laws of a trend, right? I mean, it's not really that's not my thinking at all. That's just really how a trend works. And then it's not just one of them. It's going to have to take out, my opinion, at least two. So we have to get back above. We want to get back into what I would believe. I would even call it a bullish sentiment. I would just say it's a more neutral sentiment. If we need to get back up and break those 68.14s. Not necessarily stay up there, but at least break those and then show that there is some power behind the buying. And it's not what a lot of folks are actually referring it to as the bear market rally. And so that's really what's going on technically here. So if you are following things, that's kind of the gig. And I'm not alone. I'm not making this up. This is pretty prominent sentiment out there in the markets right now. I'm not one to really follow along with everybody else, but it's again what I'm also hearing, which also tells me that quite possibly, and I don't really want to say it because it's kind of rage bait, but maybe the bottom is in now, that everyone's bearish, right? Because now all I'm seeing now when you go on the Twitterverse and social media and everything, everybody is bearish. And so when that usually happens, that usually marks the end, right? I mean, it's usually pretty obvious. And I'm not taking it as a buying opportunity. As I mentioned, most all my money has gone into BIL, which is the Treasury. I am not ready to start deploying capital in this market yet. And there'll be a million people who say, "Oh, you're trying to time the market." No, I'm not trying to time the market. I just don't want to sit. I don't want to sit in trades, because I'm a trader at heart. I mean, I'm an investor, but I'm a trader at heart. I don't want to sit in things and smoke opium. And I'm only going to deploy my capital where I believe that I have the best opportunity, and I don't see it. I mean, not that I haven't been doing anything. I have been buying bonds. I have been buying some gold down here. I mean, so it's not like I haven't been doing nothing. But anyway, that is kind of some key spots to just keep an eye on if you're swing trading out there in La La Land. Not everybody's. I know not everybody's a day trader. So that is kind of the story there. And looking at the 1 hour here, we have a number of spots that I particularly like here on the ES. I like this area up here, which is about the 67s, about 6704 to about 6700. This is the swing high from back when Monday. So I'm going to be looking at that spot, even though R2 is down here. And these are the highs from yesterday, 68.68. I like, again, this is kind of a profile trade. You can see R2 is at a valley, right, or a low volume node. Not, making it a pretty interesting area. But I like these peaks that are sticking out, and not to name all of them, but I think you're going to have opportunity in here for a short from about 92s all the way up to about 6704. Now, the markets normally will gravitate toward that big number. What the hell just happened? The market, what the hell just happened? What in the effing hell? Anyway, Markets will normally. Oh, it changed to the Nasdaq. What is going on here? It's like there's a ghost in the machine. The market will generally like gravitate toward a big number, the BRN, a big round number, as I call it, the BRN, big round number. And so that's why I'm pointing out that, likely I'm not just saying, oh, well, you got this, big deal, dude, shut up. The best spot is going to be over 6,700. Let's face it. That's going to be the wheelhouse, right? Got a lot of things going there. Now, there's a lot of little peaks down here that this thing could slow down on and go the other way. But this is going to be your spot because, again, there's a swing high from back on Monday. Couldn't get through those levels. And you have two fairly decently sized high volume nodes there that, look, I'm going to try and act on those. And so that's going to be your wheelhouse. And so it's going to be about 6704. And that is one spot I'm going to be looking at today. And that's just going to be a high VHVN. And that's going to be on 03/25/2026. All right. And that is one spot that I particularly... Now, that is kind of a ways away, right? That's another almost 40 handles. That would be a really good day for the ES. And anyway, I'm going to be looking at that spot today. Likely, I'm going to stick to buying the lows possibly if we get down there. I hope we don't. If we do, that's a big move. And obviously, something else is going on if we do get down to those levels today. But nonetheless, I am going to mark 65.79s. I hope we don't hit this one, because again, I think if we do hit this one, something bad shit's going on, and I'm not praying for bad. I'm not cheering against the U.S. just because I don't like the president. And not that I don't like the president, it's just I don't cheer against the U.S. no matter who the fuck the president is. Which I know there's a lot of that shit going on, and I don't get it, man. It's absolute. It's craziness, man. It is absolutely crazy. And that's really about it on the ES. I'm not going to mess around again. If we're talking about S2s and S3s, bad shit's happening, and likely things are going south. And I don't really want to play that game. I'm not going to catch a fallen knife. Nasdaq looks very similar to the ES. Probably the most important number on here is going to be these 24,693s. 24,693s. Again, swing high from Monday. A lot of chegging here. All basically one big block of a high volume node. You have one big spot right about here at 24,16. What is it? 24,615s. You can see that spot right there sticking out. That's going to be another spot. And again, you have yesterday's highs. Another spot, again, very interesting. If you're trading here and we're getting up to it pretty fast, we have yesterday's highs. We have an R2, and we have, it's not a big one, but we have a slightly small, low volume node. So we kind of have three things kind of going on down there. going on there, and that is at 24,524. So you get this right, 2455. It says 556, so it's 24,556.25. All right, and that is about it. You know, very similar to the ES and how it's been trading. And that is the story there. Now I know there's a number of folks that ask, like, you know, how do you set this? I get these questions emailed to me all the time. You know, what your setup? So look, here's what I have turned on and that I use all the time, right? So this is your visible range volume profile. That's what you see over here. All right, we'll go over this, and we'll use the NASDAQ because I know a lot of people trade the NASDAQ. I'm one of the weird ones that don't trade the NASDAQ. All right, and so here is what, right? So this is the visible range volume profile. That is what you see over here, all this. And I put it in the right margin because I want to see where it aligns with current price. I don't care where it was with previous price. I want to see where it aligns with current price because that's what I'm currently trading. Now, I know a lot of people put it over here. That's fine. I guess that's their preference. I prefer it over here. And then this is more of a cumulative, right? This is more cumulative of what I have on the screen. It is not a daily one. So depending on the chart, so if I use a 4-hour, you're going to see more profile come through, right? And so that's what I'm looking for with this, right? So you can see now I'm starting to see, and the reason I do this is because now I'm starting to see the peaks and the valleys of where the volume is on certain prices. All right, and so that is this. This is the session volume profile, and I have this turned off, and I don't use it I have it turned off because I don't use it all the time. Now, there are times, and I never use it when I'm on a 4-hour. Likely if I'm on a 1-hour and I'm looking for something intraday, I happen to see something on the chart and I want a little bit more visibility. You can see it show up. I keep it very, very light. You can probably barely see it, and I will zoom in. But these are the session profiles. And if I'm looking at something normally on a shorter term, 1 hour, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, it actually looks best on a 5-minute, right? And then here you can see it, all right? And this is today's. And I use this, again, if I'm looking at something intraday. And a lot of this should align with a portion of this. Right, and so that's another one, but I don't keep it on because it gets messy. I just don't want all this shit turned on my charts when I'm trading. Again, if I need it or I feel like I need to look at something in a little more detail and be granular, I will turn it on. You have the pivots. Oh, first of all, let's go up here. We'll go up here again, and I'll show you how I have this set up. I have this set up for number. I have it set to 720. Why 720? It's 356 times 2, basically, and a little more. I only use delta, and you might say, well, why? Well, if I use all of it, it gets, again, it's kind of sloppy, and really, I'm just interested more in whether there are more buyers and sellers, and what's the difference, right? What was it? Was it net green or net red? That's kind of what I'm looking for. Again, I'm trying to keep the noise down. So I can change this. If you want just up and down, this is what you get. To me, that's kind of confusing because I don't really, it kind of blends together and I don't, you can use total. That, again, doesn't really paint any picture, but when you use delta, again, that to me is a much cleaner picture of what's going on. Style here, I put in values. You can make the colors anything you want. I know some people use blue and yellow. Whatever your heart desires, you can use whatever colors it suits your needs. You can use fuchsia and agua, whatever. It doesn't matter. That's all and all this other stuff I have turned off other than the point of control. I want to know the point of control where the most volume was. I don't really care about the value area on a cumulative or a long-term profile chart because it really doesn't have much. It doesn't, again, for some other people it may, but for me it has no value, so I turn it off. Developing point of control, if you want that, it's going to be another line on your chart. You can see it there. I don't really give a shit about it. I don't care. Developing value area, same thing. It's going to just create more lines on the chart, and to me, it just adds more kind of bullshit in the way that I really trade and use it. So, and that's it. So that's the setup, and then I save it as default. I save this setup as default, so anytime I use it someplace else, it automatically comes up with those settings. All right, and that's how that's set up. Now, this session volume profile is I use all sessions. You can set a time. I don't. Volume, I use up, down, and I use 70%, and I always extend the POC to the right because I put it on the left, I extend it to the right. All right, style, this is where I use everything. I don't care about the values as much. I mean, it still prints it, but I do have the value area low and the value area high, and I use the point of control. But that's it. I don't use any of the developing. I don't put the price labels on there. Again, I'm just looking for the profile for the session, and I'm basically looking for the point of control, value area, and if I'm looking for something specific on a daily basis, and then this I place on the left. And again, I save this as default so that anytime I put it on any other chart, it will show up that way. All right, and you can see I have it off. Turn it on, turn it off. Now, the one thing I do have set up in this is I set the opacity to about 40%. So it doesn't show up like real strong. So it's kind of in the background. And it doesn't get in the way. Again, my objective is to keep my charts as clean as possible because I one thing that just drives me up a wall, and it's kind of like a kitchen sink. I can't stand when there's dishes in the sink. I don't know why. If there's like one or two, I'm okay. But when I see stacks of dishes in the sink, it drives me up a fucking wall. I kind of look at it that way with my charts. They're kind of like the kitchen sink. I don't want dishes laying all over my fucking sink because it's dirty, it's unorganized, and it's not useful. Now, the ones that I keep turned off pretty much all the time is the auto fib extension, the auto fib retracement, and a couple of new ones here that I put on that I don't even, I'm keeping them here. Don't really use them. And I'm kind of playing around with them, but I'll talk about them in a second. And I only turn the retracements on if we're at or near high. So if I'm at an R3 or an S3 and I want to get an idea of where some of the pivots might be up and above the areas that aren't printed, I will use the auto fib retracement. And you can see when you put that on here, right, it does give me values down below, right? See how it gives me values down below? And they're basically the pivots. You can see they line up pretty good. It basically gives me some reference points below for possible support if we're going down, and then the extensions will actually give me the support going up. And I don't have them turned on because they get in the way. And I don't want that up there because I don't need it right now. So if I don't need it, I turn it off. All right, so that's that. Let me refresh this. And that's that one. And then again, this one's set up, you can set this up however you want. However you decide that you want. Now, I have the extensions that are outside of the 0 to 1. I put the ones that are outside of the 0 to 1 because those are, again, important. Those are the ones that I'm looking for up and above the zone. Okay? And then as far as like colors, again, you can choose any colors you want. And in style, again, I have everything. And then again, I save this as default so that everything gets saved. Same thing with the extensions. The retracement, the extensions, same thing. Right? And then I save it as default. And that's it. And then I leave those off. And this is just a daily, weekly, monthly, high and low. Again, I keep that turned off because I have that on here, and the only thing that I use this for is the daily high and low, and that's it. There's other settings in here. Oops, wrong one. There's other settings in here. Wrong one again. There's other settings in here, but I use daily. And that's it. You can use weekly. You can use monthly if you want. I don't show. It says show projections. I don't care. And that's it. That's all that's there for. Now, as far as these, I know a lot of people may be familiar with that guy Rips. This was out there. I was listening to him one day, and then I was looking, and none of these really, I don't know, to me didn't really make much sense. I don't really care. Honestly, I don't care about any of this. It's not part of like what I do as a trader. I know some people may have developed a strategy to use these. I haven't, that's why it's turned off, because I really haven't. I've been playing around with it, turning on and off, but I really haven't used it. It's there. Now, this Lux Algo volume profile with node detection seems pretty cool, but it's kind of a mess. So if I turn it on, you're going to see what I'm talking about. So what this does, and I think it's pretty cool, and I don't like to keep it on all the time, but what it does is it does try to show, and it does work. It is actually, what it does is it tries to detect high and low volume nodes without actually having to look on the chart. So you can see here, this is a high volume node, right? Obviously, right? Sticking out. Red is a low volume node or a valley, right? You can see that there's one in there, right? Here's another high volume node. Now, I don't know where this is coming from. I would have thought that it would have been down here, right? I would have thought it would have been down here because this is where, but again, not everything's perfect. I don't know what calculation this is using as well on the, I don't know if it's how many days. I did a little bit of research and reading on it. I couldn't really find much information on it, but I'm playing around with it, and I'm noticing that it's not really true to the chart that I use. Now, it may be true to whatever chart that it's using, is fine. But again, I have it turned off because I'm just started using it, and I'm testing it to see if it really does kind of align with certain areas. And I'm noticing that on times it does. And at times it doesn't. So it's been pretty 50-50, I guess, at this point. And not enough so that I have this turned on all the time. The nice thing about it is if I go in here, right, here's your peaks and here's your valleys. You can actually set the node detection, which is pretty cool. So, you know, if you have it higher, it's going to give you less numbers. If you have it lower, it's going to give you more. All right, and then you can also have it have a profile too, but I already have one, so I don't really want that turned on, so I keep it off. All right, and so that's you know, this is, and that's how I have this set up. And then I just use green for peaks and red for troughs. And then there's a setting for the highest and lowest one. And then again, if you were to change these numbers, and I will just change this to like 1, you'll see a bunch of lines show up. See how more lines even show up? And again, some of them line up. This one lines up. This one doesn't. I don't know where that. This one lines up. But you can see you get more numbers. And, you know, again, I'm not interested in everything. And then you could really make it look a mess if I did this. And so now you could see how messy this gets. Now, and again, it's something new. I've only had it on here for probably about, I don't know, has it been a month? It might not have even been a month. It's been a couple of weeks. All right, and I'm kind of playing with it. I've been changing these around a little bit to try and get some, get some numbers that are like equal to my trading style. And right now I've come up with 5 and 5. That seems to be the numbers that I like. Again, not too messy, but then again, enough to where, again, like things are aligning to a degree, right? High volume, low volume node in here, right? And rejections. Again, like things are lining up, which again, I like to see. I'm trying to get this adjusted to, something that I'm finding useful. So anyway, that is new, and that's the Lux, and this is free. This is free. And again, all this is doing is this is just marking out on the chart the peaks and valleys, so I don't have to go and look in here in myself. Look, I've been trading volume profile for a long, long time. Long enough to tell you that I read Dalton's books, and I will tell you that if you read those books, just get yourself a big fat glass of the best scotch that you ever had, chug it down, stick a Jorgensen fucking clamp on your head, and then just fucking tighten it until your fucking eyes blow out of your socket, and because that is what it's like reading Dalton's books. They are fucking horrible. I don't care. I know there's people out there who fucking love the guy. His books are the most fucking boring, most horribly read books I've ever read in my life. Horrible books. And I'm not saying the content wasn't good. The content was okay. I mean, if you could stomach the writing. I'm just not a reader. I'm not a reader. I have an engineering background. I'm kind of like, get to the fucking point, dude. Like, stop with the fucking, stop with the fucking lectures and the stories, and just give me the tax, give me the fucking algo, give me the fucking calculations. It's not a fucking secret anymore. So anyway, that's kind of my gig with that. Sorry to tell you there, Dalton, but his books suck. You're much better off finding somebody on YouTube who's going to teach you about volume profile, or market profile. He calls it market profile. There's people that call it it's TPO. Whatever. It's all the same fucking bullshit. It's all volume, but basically. So it's like whatever. So anyway, there you have it. And so that's that. So that's new. But then for the most part, you can see like these are the only things that I use. Very, very simple. simple charts. So that's this pane, right, that you see. And then we'll flip over to here. And I don't even use this. This is a weird one. This is I think I got 4 indicators on. I don't even look at this. I don't even know why. It's like it's kind of like force of habit. But here I have a super trend, which a lot of people are familiar with super trend. This indicator is fucking garbage. It's garbage, and it's terrible. I mean, I should say, like, and I don't know why. It's kind of like a bad movie, I guess. And I kind of use this. In a weird way. I'm from the opinion that, all right, look, if this is giving a buy signal, I'm kind of looking to do the opposite. And that's how I've used it, and I've grown so accustomed to having it now and doing the opposite, and not always doing the opposite. Now look, the buy signal here, if you look at it, it's actually a viable buy signal. But then you didn't really get a sell signal to me fast enough. And I've messed around with this, and seems to be no setting that you can set that's going to give you the sell. Now, I would already be looking at this point here. And again, here with this buy signal here and this actually coming back up to this area again, I'm going to be looking at short. And so as long as this is saying buy, to me, that's actually telling me that, yeah, we're getting to a spot where you're going to probably want to short this fucker. And I've grown accustomed to this, of doing the opposite and trying to front run the signal. And so, again, it's kind of a horrible thing. And I've had this up on my charts now for, I think, well over, I want to say a couple of years now. And it's almost like, I don't know, it's kind of one of those things where it's there now, and if it wasn't there, I'd kind of feel naked. But I have all the same shit on here. And so I don't even really use it. I don't even want to get into like how it's set up and all this other stuff, because this indicator is fucking garbage. It is absolute fucking garbage. It's absolute. I know there'd be 100 people that, oh no, it's good. It's fucking garbage. It's garbage. It's a great thing if you're going to front run it. And that's what I use it for. I use it to front run. So I'm actually looking to get ahead of when this signal is going to pop. So anyway, that's what that is, and that's why that's there. So that's more a me problem than anything else, but that's why that pane is there. And then new, I had just turned this on, and I was very reluctant for the longest time because TradingView wanted they wanted a higher subscription just to get fucking order flow. And I was like, what the fuck, And then now, if I want to get tick charts, they want another fucking goddamn subscription. And it's like, what the fuck, man, with these places? Everybody's fucking nickel and diamond. Just give me a package and just say, here's what you get if you get fucking everything. Rather than fucking nickel and diamond me for fucking, you want an extra alert? Oh, that's gonna, like, come on, man. Like, what the and that's what's kind of forcing me now. Like, look, you're gonna get me on a little bit of a rant. I want to get the fuck off of this now. Because I'm tired of being fucking nickel and dimed for fucking this and that. Just, like, what's the fuck, and I didn't want premium, because when I looked at premium, when I first went on this platform and I looked at premium, I'm like, I don't use all this shit. But they didn't even have it. They didn't even have this shit. Now they have it, but now they're charging you for it. Same thing with tick charts. Like, why in the fuck would you make it more money for a fucking tick chart? It costs you nothing extra for that data. So kind of fucking bullshit, kind of pissed me off. Anyway, this is a footprint chart, right? So if you go up here, you have to choose volume footprint. All right, and these are footprint charts. They are part of the, I don't know, whatever package it is. It's like the second or third, I think it might be, I don't even know. But you have to pay for it. It ain't free. And then I'm learning to find out that this isn't even, a lot of this data that they're actually even providing isn't truly real either. But I don't know, that remains to be seen. It seems to be real to me. But anyway, it's a footprint chart, and then you need to customize it. So you go to settings, and then you're going to do it on the symbol. And then on the symbol, on the chart, is where you're going to set up the footprint chart. Right? And there's all different lengths that you can choose. I'm using auto. You could do manual. So if I did manual, you're going to see these change. See? And you get less prints per bar, which I don't like. I want more prints. I use auto because it seems to be kind of good. You can use two different. You can use a profile or cluster. I prefer to use the cluster. And then here with the type, you could do the traditional, which is buy and sell. And then you can see you get both sides. Let me zoom in and then do it just so you can get an idea here. All right, and then if I change this from delta to buy and sell, you'll see you get the full footprint, which is this is the sell side, and this is the buy side. You can also do the ladder, which there's not really much difference in that, other than just how it's printed. I prefer delta. Because again, I'm trying to reduce the amount of noise. All I'm really looking for, look, on this bar in this spot where there are more buyers than sellers, right? Here, there's more sellers, so there's negative 32. Here, there were more. There's 11 more buyers. The white is a point of control, most volume in that spot. And then as far as like down the bottom here in the summary, these are all that I have down there, which is total volume. Again, the total delta, right? Net positive trades to net negative trades. The session CVD. And the point of control. You can see which ones it is. The bottom one's the point of control. That's where the most volume was. The session CDV is the cumulative volume of the session. And so right now we're net about 1K to the positive. And we're moving right now. So, and then I save this as default. And that's how that's set up. And the only way I really use this is, and what's marked here, this is a buy and balance. When you see these big green lines like this, and the red big lines are sell and balance. As you can see, there was a sell and balance, and we had a, pretty significant sell-off. Had a buy and balance, we had a rally. Buy and balance, rally. Buy and balance, rally. And that's how that chart's set up. And I always use a 1 minute on this because this is a very granular chart. And when I'm looking for an entry, this is what I will use to see about where I need to enter. And it's a 3-pane. I just use 3 panes, and that's it. And then I save it up here as a 3-pane. This is the one right here, so it's 3 panes, and that's the setting. This. So the third one over. And then I save it, and that's it. And that's the charts that I use. And that's my setup. All right? So anyway, went a little longer than I had thought, but that's how everything's set up in here. And again, it's not sophisticated, not overly complicated, not a million indicators. Pretty much stick to a set group of things. I like my charts very clean. I don't like a lot of mess. All right, and so that being said, I think that's going to do it for today. I did not talk about gold, but gold does appear to be on the mend, but will have to remain to be seen because, again, we do have a series of these lower highs on gold, and I will actually zoom out on this real quick. Same situation as with equities, but breaking this last night. This was the swing. This was the lower high from just the other day. We did break that, and we are trading above that. Next spot in the sand is going to be the 47s. And I think if and when we do get above that, we possibly could see a trend change in gold, but not before. All right, so that's it. That's all I got. As I mentioned, I'm not trading stocks much at all. Nothing interests me very much at all. I know a number of these stocks have been moving, but they're not really moving anything, to me, not anything that's worth jumping on at this point. Same thing with the big tech stocks. I know many of them are going to be up today, but you can see yesterday, a lot of them had a lot of problems, man. A lot of problems. So, I mean, again, I'm not ready to call this over. All right, and so that's it. That's all we got. Let's get this back in business here. Let's get back to the Russell. And so have a good one. Trade them tight, and I will be back tomorrow.